Yikes. So this video is going to be a little bit of a mess because we're going to be talking about Sony and how they're currently in full-blown panic mode because of all these crazy leaks. Now, I'm not going to be talking about the leaks themselves. I don't want to tell you what was in them because obviously that would ruin The Last of Us. If you've already looked at them, I do ask, don't post them in the comment section. Kind of just respect your fellow gamers and let them see if they want to discover it themselves. They're pretty easy to track down. But instead, let's talk about the impact that this is having on Naughty Dog and Sony headquarters. What's up, gamers? Dreamcastguy here, and you're probably going to laugh about this, but I accidentally just fell asleep on my desk. I fell asleep for about an hour. I just passed out while I was editing something, and as soon as I woke up, a bunch of you were tweeting me how The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, the last two major PlayStation games, are actually getting release dates. This is some fantastic news. Now, obviously, the Ps4 is being sunset. It's on its way out. We're about to get the PlayStation 5, and so people are kind of curious what these last two games are really going to be like. This is probably going to be the most beautiful, the most magnificent. I mean, typically, the final games of any console generation are the biggest hardware pushers. Well, up until a couple hours ago, they didn't really have hard release dates. We weren't sure how much they were or not delayed. Well, we now know for a fact that Last of Us Part 2 is coming out June 19th, and Ghost of Tsushima will be coming out July 17th. Now, this is pretty cool because it means Last of Us Part 2 means it only really got delayed about 20 days? I mean, it was already coming out at the end of May, and now it's coming out in the middle of June. So this is great news. But why are we getting release dates? What's going on? Well, it seems like it comes down to a very unfortunate story. Now, we're going to talk about the idea of the leaks and how they came about, but I'm not going to tell you what's in them, okay? Are you ready? So the main rumor on the internet right now is that people over at Naughty Dog are not happy. The people who are actually developing The Last of Us Part 2 are kind of getting screwed over. I mean, so the main rumor going around is that a lot of these people are stuck at home, obviously working on codes, programming, trying to finish stuff up. And as they do this, a lot of these people are working 80, 100 hours a week, but instead of at the office, they're doing it at home. So that means that even though they are in the safety and comfort of their own house, they're not leaving the room. They're just stuck here at their computer all day long, not getting to play with their kids, not getting a chance to eat dinner with their wives. They're stuck here just digging through layers and layers and layers of code. Well, apparently, one of these code testers, one of these people that was trying to do all this work, was a little bit pissed off because he's dead broke. Now, keep in mind, this is just rumors, but it sounds like he decided to just go to Naughty Dog and say, pay me my overtime right now so I can pay off my bills, or else I'm going to leak the game. And they didn't pay him, so he decided to leak it. Now, this is some pretty bad stuff because what's kind of happening now is people are digging through the leaks. I mean, people are curious. I mean, humans love to know the secrets. So they've decided to go through all this and ruin the games for themselves. And he definitely leaked, whoever this person was, man or woman, they definitely decided to release a very big scattershot of spoilers that have kind of made people feel like they don't need to play the game anymore. There's always that rumor that PlayStation games are just interactive movies. They're just like a bunch of cool cutscenes with a little bit of combat in between. So there's definitely that group out there that's just like, okay, now that I know how the game's going to go, I don't need to buy it. Now, I think that Sony is very, very afraid because they need this year to be big. I mean, right now what's going on across the world is definitely a big, huge, economic downturn. People are broke, people are poor, and they're probably not going to be buying the PlayStation 5, at least not day one. Currently, the rumor is that the PlayStation 5 is going to cost $500. And I don't know about you, but $500 to me is a big old chunk of change. Now, I'm saving up now for this console that's coming out in like 6 months, but a lot of people right now who aren't working, maybe they can't even afford a console that comes out in 6 months. Maybe they can't save up anything because they don't have any income at all. And it sounds like what they're trying to do is make sure that people are still going to be buying all the PlayStation 4 games possible leading up to the PlayStation 5. Now, all of that makes sense. I fully understand the motivations of Sony. I know what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it. but it seems like they're kind of freaking out because if Last of Us Part 2 doesn't sell well because of these leaks, they're out a lot of money. Video games continually get more expensive. I mean, with just kind of ballparking the budget, they probably spent $150 to $200 million making this game. Now, of course, that makes sense because it is a big cinematographic masterpiece with big actors. It's got great mocap. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff in it that's very, very pushing of the boundaries. It's kind of trying to redefine the art. But that's a lot of cash that Sony, of course, wants to get back. They're not just throwing this money out there for the good of their hearts. They're not doing this for the memes. They're doing this because they're a business. They want to try and stay profitable. If these games bomb, they're definitely going to be screwed going into the next generation. Now, I will say everything inside their press release, which was put over at the PlayStation blog, they're trying to stay very cool and collected. I don't think that Sony or Neil Druckmann or any of the people over at Naughty Dog are even going to publicly acknowledge these leaks. In fact, I'd say that they're probably just going to sit there and smile and keep trying to make commercials until the games come out because they don't want to admit the fact that so much of their game is now posted to the internet. And I've already seen some people saying, I'm not buying The Last of Us. I have seen some people already talking about a boycott, and I think that's scaring Sony way more than they will ever admit. I mean, this game is a big deal. This was meant to be the final thing to try and sell it. Now, the other half of this that I think is really interesting is a lot of people were beginning to speculate, myself included, I've talked about this in the past, I do believe that the point of The Last of Us was originally going to be something to try and show off the power of the PlayStation 5. Now, this is just a rumor, but it seems like the PlayStation 5 is going to play a big chunk of PlayStation 4 games and will provide some sort of update patch when you put it in there. It'll make it where it runs at a better frame rate and a higher resolution. So I fully believe that the point of The Last of Us, and part of the reason they've been working so hard on it, is because it was going to be this flagship thing that would say, buy it on the PlayStation 4 and have fun, buy it on the PlayStation 5 and you get the true experience. We've seen other consoles do that in the past, like I remember when Xbox did that with Titanfall specifically, where they were saying like, okay, you can play this game anywhere, but the real game is on Xbox One. I think that, I still believe that The Last of Us Part 2 was going to be like that. The Last of Us Part 2 was going to be the thing to say, alright, no matter what, you can enjoy Joe and Ellie's next adventure, you can see where the story's going, but I always thought that they were going to say, if you want the big, true, real-world experience, you gotta buy a PlayStation 5. And now, I guess they're probably scared of this even working. The thing I'm kind of curious about myself is how well this game is going to sell. I'm curious how many people are going to steer clear of it because they've seen the story. And more than that, I'm curious to see if they just end up doing a digital-only release for at least this first couple months. It sounds like the big thing is that Neil Druckmann and all them are not sure how they're going to even ship copies of this game all over the globe and to Sony fans from Nicaragua all the way over to freaking Spain. How are they going to ship these when there's not even people to ship it? How are they going to make this stuff when there's not factories open? This really just seems like a big old messy situation that's kind of fallen into Naughty Dog's lap, and I bet they're probably getting yelled at by some sort of executives over at PlayStation headquarters, because at the end of the day, this was a Naughty Dog employee leaking a Naughty Dog game, and it's only going to screw over Naughty Dog. Oh man, I'm glad I'm not these people. Seriously, sometimes people say like, I bet it'd be so great to work at a game studio. And you know what? It is pretty good to work at a game studio. I talk to a lot of game developers, but people always say the bad days are very, very bad. And I think this is probably a very, very bad day. I just want to say a special thank you to all the Naughty Dog people that are working on this. I like The Last of Us. I'm a big Last of Us fan, and I'm actually very personally invested in this. I want to see how the story goes. And yes, I have seen the spoilers, but I'm still buying the game. I'm still going to be reviewing it, and I'm still very, very excited for it. But I bet a lot of people are going to be screwed over. Let's see how this all turns out. What do you think? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below about The Last of Us Part 2, the new release date, and my camera just ran out of battery as I was filming. Fantastic. Well, if you would do me a favor, don't put any spoilers in the comment section, but if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. I should probably record some new Last of Us footage, by the way. This is footage from Last of Us Part 1 that I recorded like 5 years ago. Maybe it's time to update my my footage. thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.